Hi JY, this is Michael from BetterTOEFLScores.com. I'm getting ready to listen to a speaking practice test that you sent me, and I have the speaking rubrics here. In the email you wrote me, you say, "Hello Michael, I hope your last week of 2022 is going well. As you recommended in the last feedback, I've been working on sentence variety and transition words. Perfect, good for you. Please listen to evaluate and let me know what I should do more to improve. Thank you." So the topic here is, do you prefer traveling alone or traveling with a companion? So use details and examples to support your explanation. Okay, so I'm getting ready to listen to your recording. So let me listen to the whole thing first without making any comments. I'll give you an estimated score, then I'll listen to it one more time with comments.
I would rather travel with my family and friends than go somewhere all by myself. The main reason is I feel more safe to have someone with me. For example, when I went to Brazil all by myself, I wasn't walking downtown and I noticed that some people were staring at me, and I was told that there were thieves around, so I didn't feel comfortable to be alone. Another reason is it is much easier to take photos. To illustrate, I went to San Francisco alone, and it was very difficult to ask for help from strangers whenever I need to take photos, which is why I prefer traveling with someone.
Okay, so you gave the two different examples to support your ideas. Okay, let's take a look. I'm thinking you're probably between 3.0 and 3.5. So I'm going to say between maybe 23 and 25 points out of 30. I think you might not quite get the 26. It's going to be close. Let me listen to it one more time.
I would rather travel with my family and friends than go somewhere all by myself. The main reason is I feel more safe to have someone with me.
So instead of saying mainly, I feel safe to have someone with me, I would combine those two sentences to create more syntactic variety and use a dependent clause. Combine that with your independent clause. You might say something like this. If I have to travel, I'd rather travel with a companion because mainly I feel more safe. You could say it like that. So use because to connect those two ideas together.
For example, when I went to
So I like your use of the word for example. That prepares your audience for your detail.
Brazil all by myself, I wasn't walking downtown and I noticed that some people were staring at me, and I was told that there were thieves around, so I didn't feel comfortable to be alone.
How about I did not feel comfortable being alone instead of how it did not feel comfortable being alone? That's a little awkward.
Around, so I didn't feel comfortable to be alone.
Yeah, so I did not feel comfortable being alone. I would say it like that. That way you focus it from the first person point of view around your own experience.
Another reason is it is much easier to take photos.
I would just say, in addition, to give you some syntactic variety, traveling with another person makes it easier to take photos. So you're using a lot of it sentence constructions. That's not what I consider advanced grammar, it. So you need to move away from using it. And in this case, you can say traveling with another companion allows or makes it easier to take photos when I'm visiting historic landmarks and other kinds of interesting sites. So you could do it like that. Use a gerund phrase as a subject. That's going to show more syntactic variety there.
To illustrate, I went to San Francisco alone, and it was very difficult to ask for help from strangers whenever
How about this? To provide more concrete details, for example, when I was traveling to San Francisco alone and I was looking at the magnificent Golden Gate Bridge and I wanted to get a picture taken by the bridge, it was more difficult to do that because I had to ask a stranger to take the picture for me. So that would give you a little more concrete
I
detail
need to
there.
take photos, which is why I prefer
Now that's good syntactic variety there, which is why blah blah blah.
traveling with someone.
Good. So I think you made some improvements at the end there with your syntactic variety. Um, I'm going to keep going. I think that my first impression typically is my best, is my most accurate. I'm going to say 23 to 25 points on this. You can still continue to make improvements with your language use. I gave you some comments on how you can do that. I think with your topic development, you need to get a little more specific. Look at what it says in the three. Overall development is somewhat limited, usually lacks elaboration or specificity. You talked about going to San Francisco and wanting to take pictures, but you weren't very specific in what you wanted to take pictures of. So that's why I'm saying that. All right. So to learn more about the specificity thing and maybe to develop that skill a little bit better, if you go to my blog at bettertoeflscores.com, type in lacks TOEFL speaking elaboration, right? Type that in the search box, and then you can review this lesson. I think that's a good lesson for you right now. See that one? Details create the big picture. Go through that and learn from that. All right, thank you.